Can you give me permission to record, Mark? Rich Flynn.
Yes, you can. Anybody else?
We got a lot of background noise there, Mark.
Oh, is that any better?
Oh, much better. You sound like you were in a wind tunnel there.
I've got a fan. I've got a fan going on the other side of the room.
Oh, you got your fan club, huh?
Yep.
Sets.
Okay, so basically, like I was telling some of you that were here before, what gave me the idea was Chris and Brian last week were talking about fixing the square, getting people back to normal and stuff like that. And it made me think about back when I first started. I was calling, and one of the first couple times I did was try my attempts at patter, and I had three. It was 3-1, three boys and one girl on one side, and three girls and one boy on the other side. And I had no idea how to get out of that. It just totally messed me up. And then I went to a calling school and came back and thought I was understanding a lot better. And one of the guys come up to me and they told me that, yeah, I was calling a lot better. I kept them moving and everything. They were dancing, but he really wished he could have danced with another girl the whole tip instead of with another guy. So I never even noticed it. And if I would have noticed it, I would have probably broke down right back then too, because like, uh-oh, how do I get these people back to where they're supposed to be? It just happened to work out that I ended up getting them back, and I didn't even know I did it. So that kind of gave me the idea for the topic today. Danger, danger. How do I normalize them? So my idea was to put up some different scenarios and see what you guys think for normalizing them. What your ideas? I know one of the common ones that was mentioned was star through will normalize people a lot. But so these scenarios that I got for Tamnations, it's kind of like a new caller's calling, and then all of a sudden he sees, uh-oh, this formation, they're in this formation. What am I going to do? How am I going to get them out of it? So that's kind of the idea of the thing to do. So I will start sharing. And this is kind of the first one. A new caller's calling a tip, and all of a sudden he notices he's got them in lines facing out, and they're boy, boy, girl, girl. So, who would like to go first with a simple, an easy way to normalize it and get them back to normal?
And the first one?
Stephen Potter's got his hand raised.
I'd say pass through, bend the line, star through. I mean, just bend the line, star through.
Okay.
All right.
Well, just yeah. Okay.
And here's another one that went a little bit further, and they end up like this. And they find out. Who wants to go for this one?
Oh, okay. Malcolm.
Malcolm?
Courtesy turn.
I couldn't hear you.
Square through 3 girls and courtesy turn. The courtesy turn, what's coming towards you? boys.
Oh, you want the boys to courtesy turn them as they're coming?
That's it.
Not sure if Taminations can do that.
Well, that's what I've called that a few times.
Yeah, that would work. I could see that. I don't know how to make Taminations do that, but yeah, that would work.
So go ahead and undo the center square through 3.
Yeah, because I'm rusty, but I saw something else.
I saw
What do you-
centers pass through, star through.
Perfect.
Or square through 3 and star through.
Ah,
So now you have got normal couples, and you're able to do the next call.
There was a variation I saw also from the same with instead of the have a touch a quarter and the boys run and you got lines. I think.
So what are you saying to do?
If the girls girls pass through, touch a quarter, boy run. There's a two-faced line.
I'd be more likely to say boys trade and then boys run.
Okay, I go along with that. They say I'm rusty.
Hey, you're getting old, Brian, whether you know it or not.
Hey,
No, that was Bill. That wasn't me.
Oh, sorry, Bill.
flattery
but-
get you know.
But Bill's only slightly older than I am.
Define slightly.
I don't know. I think you're only a couple of years older now, aren't you?
Does anybody see anything different?
What about passing through and stepping to a wave?
Ryan, to answer your question, I
Thank you.
turned 70 last week.
70. Oh wow.
Yep.
Okay, so you are a little
And
older
then-
than I am.
Yeah.
And then you could hinge. And then you've got girls outside, boys inside.
or a recycle would have done it.
Yep.
Or you could have had the girls turn through in the middle and star through with the boys.
Well, right there at the step to a wave.
Yeah,
Doesn't
it's
that
true.
normalize them there because they're in a right-handed wave?
And if you did boys run, yeah.
And then what, Roz?
I'm going to circulate because if I bend the line, body flow will be out. So circulate, sorry.
There's very little that you can call after the ends run that would be danceable.
Couples trade, bend the line.
Well, the boys were once removed from each other and facing in when they did the run. Now they're facing out. So right now at chase right's the only thing that'll be flowable.
Okay.
But maybe
So
not
I
a
didn't want to
mainstream.
bend the line.
At mainstream, you would have a boys' trade and a girls' trade.
Well, you could always go out and back instead of, like you do to the caller, and then you'd break the body flow, then you could bend the line. Cheating a bit. And then bend the line.
Yeah, wheel and deal may have been better.
Oh, yeah, of course. Thank you, John. Why do you miss the easy bits?
I shall return.
So here everybody's half sashayed out.
Turn two or box the net.
Yep, box the net would be perfect.
Or does the turn through?
So a box the net puts them into a position where they have a right hand with that person that they just did the box the net with, and then they can do whatever the next call is going to be. The turn through is going to cause a little bit of pandemonium on the floor, mostly because the dancers don't do a lot of turn throughs. And when they finish the turn through, a lot of them are going to want to do a courtesy turn for no good reason. Some of them are going to do some other call that isn't even expected, and you'll end up with dancers all over the place. So it's a little, if the dancers are already uncomfortable and you called something like a turn through that's going to make them even more uncomfortable, it's going to cause the dancers to break. Whereas the box the net will get you 100% success because you're dealing with opposite sexes looking at each other and being able to do that call. The other thing you could have done too was like a touch a quarter and turn to face, sort of like a touch a quarter and roll. So of course, when they do that, it's almost exactly the same as the box the net with different terminology. But what it does is it ends up putting them into a formation that's a little bit easier for them to deal with. The other thing that you could have done, if you go back, is just call a swing through. So everyone knows how to step to a wave and do a swing through. And so now what you've got is standard ocean waves with the boys on the ends and the girls in the middle. And so then you can do whatever else you want to do. So it's fairly easy from here because now you've got the dancers in a situation where they're normalized. Just for fun, do a hinge and have the centers trade. And now have the centers run. And so what you've done is you now have same sexes together. Now just have the centers trade. And do a couple circulate. A lot of times the callers at caller schools, they don't notice, they think the dancers are in couples, but half of them are in standard couples, the other half are half sashayed. And so when you call a Ferris wheel from here, the couple that's going into the middle, they're half sashayed, they're going to have difficulty because they're not going to be used to dancing it like that. And it'll look very awkward, and you'll notice it as a caller. You'll say, oh yeah, those dancers are having a problem. So the big question is, what do you do from here to get them out of it? So have the centers do a pass through. And again, just call swing through. And now you have an ocean wave with the boys facing in and the girls facing out. Call a scoot back. And now everything's normal. Boys run, and you're back to normal couples. And it feels okay for the dancers. Once they've done the swing through, they're all with opposite sexes and they all feel fine. And so it's kind of happiness for them because they're a little more comfortable.
Okay, so from what I've seen so far, good calls for normalizing couples are star through, touch a quarter, box a nat, and swing through. Does that sound about right?
Yep, and it depends on the relationships that they have with the dancers. So if you have one couple that's sashayed and the other, or if both couples are sashayed, doing the swing through will work out really well.
Okay.
And the box on that works really well.
Roz, you want to do this one?
Probably a half sashimi. Okay. Center's pass through.
Helps if I get my mouse back up there.
Swing through.
So they're basically back to normal then.
Yeah, they're in a recognizable formation of sorts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In my head, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, they're normal again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Allowing that the wave is the same thing as two facing couples, right?
I didn't catch that, Daryl.
I say an ocean wave is the same as facing couples.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I got in late on all of this.
And
I
so
will say for any of these oddball arrangements and formation type things, if you work at trying to create them, so you understand what creates them, at the same time, you'll be seeing things that you can do to straighten them out. And I don't care what anybody says, you can't push enough checkers or dolls to get everything. You need to do a lot of that. If you're learning how to call, you need to be pushing those things and putting them into every possible combination that you can think of. And you'll find a whole bunch of them that you can't put them into. And those we call asymmetric. Got it?
Yep. So when I was coming up with these figures to get them into this position this morning, I was also trying to figure out how to get them, how to fix it. And I came up with the touch a quarter, the star through, and the swing through. The box and that was a new one. That one I never even thought of. So I learned something there.
Did somebody say that? Did anybody say that when you're half sashayed, all it takes is a U-turn back?
I never even thought of that one this morning either.
Always look at the simple things first. A U-turn back is skipped so often when that's all it takes to fix something for you. So stay with the simple stuff, always. Or you could say centers U-turn back, and you wouldn't half sashay the outsides, or insides or centers U-turn back, outsides U-turn, whatever. But there are ways to use all of these movements.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then I got
the other one. Yeah, when they are half sashayed, is to simply keep it very simple. Half sachet.
Yep. And this is the one that it was waves that were 3-1, 3 boys, 1 girl.
And circulate.
It's asymmetric.
Oh, I see. Yep.
Centers trade.
Boys run. If you're facing out, trade.
Or
Leaders.
whatever kind of line you have, bend it.
Whatever. Yep.
Yep, you can bend the line here. I usually do a if you're facing out trade, or else I might say cast off 3/4, depending on the flow.
Then you can put in tag the line, and then face whichever way you want.
I don't know if Tamination does facing out. Well, I guess they do. Wow, nice.
You know,
that was the one that
they're
was
all
the
very
example
simple,
that I
aren't they?
told you I got into when I first started. I had no idea what to do.
Right.
I never thought at that time, just having the ends circulate never popped in my head because I was brand new.
So just to let you know what we did there with the dancers, if we did the same thing with another square and they didn't make the same mistake, they would be in exactly the same position that this square is in now. You've just fixed the dancers without messing the whole floor. And you could have called that to the whole floor. So that's the difference.
Because when you called those facing out trade, the only ones that were messed up would be the only ones to do the call.
Correct. If you want, put them back into the starting position of that, which is right after your thing there. So what I want you to do is have the centers run around the ends. So in every square on the floor, every other square, the boys are the centers. And you would normally say boys run. But in this case, just say centers run. Now do a Ferris wheel. Have the center step to a wave. Okay, so in the center wave, have the boys run. And just U4, that line of 4 in the middle, bend the line. So now they're done, they're fixed, and you could have called that to an entire floor of dancers and not messed up anybody.
Yeah.
So the trick typically is getting the same sex dancers together that made the mistake and have them do get them into a right-handed formation, have the boys run, which puts them into a line of 4 where everyone is a normal couple, and then have them bend the line, and that resolves your square. And that also resolves any other square. And all of the other squares, while they're dancing, they would step to a wave and the boys would run. They could do a bend the line easily, and nobody would notice the difference, except that square that was broken. One couple had to do a bend the line where they were backing up, and for them it might be a tiny bit uncomfortable, but everybody else had a good time. But without jumping outside of mainstream, you've basically fixed the entire square and you fixed the entire floor, which is kind of an advanced topic, and very tricky to do, but just like anything in calling, it requires practice, practice, practice. So if you want to, if you undo the centers back away, the centers bend the line, the center boys run, center step to a wave, undo that. Good. Now, because the centers are facing the opposite sex, you can have them star through. Go ahead, center star through. This is another thing you can do. Star through is your wonderful friend too. And from here, have the couples facing out trade. Everybody else is facing into the square except that one couple. So that way you're sort of calling to the whole floor, but when you say it's couples facing out, there's only one couple facing out. So you're specifically talking to them. But again, it's conditional calling. You're using a condition of those who are facing out do this. But having to bend the line, that's a little more slick because in every square you have a line. It just happens that every other square has a two-face line and this square that's broken has a one-face line. And so when they do the bend the line, they're fixing themselves while everybody else is just doing a regular bend the line. And nobody notices. But at the end of the day, all of a sudden everybody's at home and they're wondering how.
Okay, well, that was pretty much all of the scenarios I could come up with.
I would say, oh, good job, Brian. Nice points.
Yeah.
But
I
if you're calling to one square, like you were talking about, Mark, you might want to try some of this. If you got 3 squares on the floor and you didn't intentionally make it asymmetric, you're not going to deal with it. Understand that?
Oh, yeah.
Call to the squares and make it. I've been calling for many, many years. You know that. I wouldn't go through all of this to save 1 square. They're likely to break down again in the middle of whatever I'm trying to get done there. So, it's you got to weigh what the advantages are. Now, there's nothing that knowing would hurt you, but find the easy ways to resolve, the quick and easy. And usually it's something, somebody trading or something that you can do to get all the boys with the girl beside them. Then find out what it takes to get them facing. Sometimes it's just a U-turn back. Sometimes it's a fold in front of them. The easy things, the simple things that not only simple for you, but simple for them. Not impressive, but you can clean a lot of things up that way. But trust me, if you don't call 1 and 2, do a right and left through, you're not going to become asymmetric. Whatever causes that, if it isn't a dancer error, it's yours, and you're not going to make that error unless you do it intentionally. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. But most of what you asked about, where you had particular arrangements that you were dealing with, or the one where you had the 4 girls in the middle and the guys on the outside of a double pass-through formation, that's all good stuff. You should know that. You should know that for any dance floor. Not only how to clean it up, but how to make it happen to begin with. Tag the line.
So here is where you talked about fold. So
Talking about what?
You could have the girls fold and
Exactly. Star through. Normal facing lines of 4. You might have, say, up to the middle and back, and they will justify it.
Okay, so
The biggest tool that you have for straightening out gender problems is get them all together with the opposite sex. Boy, girl, boy, girl, girl, boy, girl, boy. Now, if you got boy, boy, girl, girl, find some way to have the centers trade, and then you'll have one of the others. Okay?
yeah.
The simple things, that's what you want.
Well, I figure the biggest tool is the collar.
And the biggest tool
Before or against.
sometimes too. Where's that two-face line, Mark? Okay, tag the line. And clover leaf. You got all 4 boys in the middle. What are you going to do with it? And you were used to having all 4 girls in the middle. You could get them back again by having a zoom happen, couldn't you? But you don't. You need to know what to do with the boys too. Now we already did the girls. Zoom again. Yeah. The 2 really, really easy ways. You're not going to lose anybody on the floor. If you say, for some floors, if you say, all right, boys, square through 3 in the middle, don't do it. Don't call that. Say, all right, boys, pass through and touch a quarter. What do you have? Normal right hand waves. Now, you wouldn't want to do a swing through right now without doing preceding it with a girl's trade or center's trade. Okay, back it up to where boys are back in the middle. All right. Now, instead of doing the touch quarter, you could do the star through, couldn't you? Centers pass through and star through. Those are simple things. There's simple ways of putting them back into something normal. And of course, you've got your 2-face lines. You can do your circulates, your Ferris wheels. You can do all kinds of fun things there with those 2-face lines.
Yep.
Bend the line. These are the things that you're most likely to run into that you might not be able to handle. Pass through. Tag the line. Face in. They all have sashayed. Pass through. Do you turn back? They're not half sashayed anymore. Those are simple tools that you should know. Pass the ocean. Girls trade. Girls run. Tag the line. Face in. Now, what do you have? Lines with boys on the end, girls in the middle. Pass through. Boys fold. Touch quarter. What do you have? Right hand ocean waves with the boys in the center. You know, those are the kind of things that you need to be really conscious of and learn to work those. Just set your things up. Keep your solutions very simple. When you're teaching new dancers and calling your mainstream club dance, these are the kind of things that are going to be handy. It's going to take you into and out of different things that they should I hate that word should for a caller, but things that every dancer ought to know just to get along in standard choreography. With that, I'll shut up.
No, you were doing good. This is what I wanted for this video. This, like I said, the idea for this video is for the scenario like back when I first started. This is something a new caller needs to know.
I'll give you another example with the fold. So let's have all the boys run. Bend the line. And so just for fun, let's have couple number 1 do a half sachet. It doesn't matter what their relationships are at this point. I'm just doing this as making a point. So you only have one couple that's half sachet and everybody else is normal. So everybody pass through. And just like Daryl did before, have the boys fold.
Exactly.
And then star through.
Get opposite sexes facing each other, whatever it takes.
Yep. And then adjust your lines. Yep. And that's it. It's easy enough to do. And if you have boys and girls together, it's perfectly easy to do. And just like the other one that I did, let's do a bend the line. And have couple number 1 sachet. Okay, now have everybody pass the ocean. Now everyone is holding the opposite sex by the right hand. So have the boys run. When you have the opposite sex by the right hand and you have the boys run, that gives you normal couples for everyone. And then you have everybody bend the line, and that'll fix everyone.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, no, it's bad flow, certainly. But I normally do the if you're facing out trade because that one, whoever's facing out does the trade, and that works out well.
There's something. Mark,
Yeah.
take them from where they are right now and give me a left-hand ocean wave, please. In the shortest possible way.
Dixie style.
Okay. Give me left hand, take it back up. That's not exactly what I wanted to show. Of course, Dixie style does. Take it back one more notch. I think. Yeah. It's not exactly what I had in mind. But that, give me right hand ocean waves. Sorry. Do a Ferris wheel.
No, we're not symmetrical because this is the one that we fixed that wasn't symmetrical.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, do a bend the line first, and then you'll get yourself back. Yep.
Okay. Pass the ocean. You want a left-hand wave? Everybody do a U-turn back. What do you have? Left-hand waves. Know how to get into them, know how to get out of them quickly, easily. And all it took was a U-turn back. It doesn't take a lot of movements. What I run into with newer callers, I'll say, well, I want this. And they go through a whole figure just to get that one formation. So learn shortcuts to absolutely everything. They're very, very useful. And every time, and believe me, gang, I firmly believe that any one movement can be a module in itself, depending on what your intent is when you use it. Okay? I'll shut up. Sorry. I better back out of here. I talk too much.
I find the easiest way to change from right and left hand waves is centers cross run.
And that's a good way.
And if you're at advanced, you just say mix.
Meow. That's it.
But even from here, if you're in a left-handed formation, if you just tell everybody to fold, what does that do? Huh?
Face it, Chuck.
It won't let everybody fold.
Oh, that's silly. They should be able to fold in front of each other.
Oh,
Okay, we're
tell-
gonna have to talk to contaminations folks.
Tell everybody run left. That's one of my favorites. No, it won't do it. But I'll tell you what, I like in something like a right-hand ocean wave, I say everybody run right or everybody fold. Everybody run right is just like a half by the right anyway. It puts you in the ocean waves, turn half right, or everybody fold, they will roll around and face the one in the right hand. So it works. I'm not saying it's great choreography, but it's very simple stuff that you can throw out at a floor and the dancers will stutter and then say, oh yeah, and do it. I'm still not totally sold on terminations for practice and study. I love terminations, don't get me wrong. Terminations is great for showing you how to do things. But I still think that sitting there and moving checkers or dolls or even diagramming puts things into your head that you won't get from watching terminations, the details that you need. So use your checkers, use your dolls, use something where you have to put them in the middle instead of on the outside. Makes sense?
Yep.
Yeah,
It's just kind of hard. It's kind of hard to do that on Zoom, though.
Yep, this is my poker chip, and this is boy number 1. But yeah, I've found over the years that it didn't really matter which computer program it was. I do such weird and crazy choreography that it doesn't matter which computer program it is. It's not going to be able to do all of the weird stuff that I can think of. So moving the checkers around has always been the best thing for me. And I would always tell new callers that the best way for them to learn how to navigate the calls and figure out how to do them is to move the checkers around, because it gives you a much greater sensation for how to do the calls rather than just typing the names into a computer program.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There's Joe's got his set.
This is a closed dryer door. And
Magnets. I like the magnets on it.
I don't use it because the magnets slow me down. I want fast dancers. But when I'm showing stuff to other callers, it's a great way to go. Plus I don't know if you can see, the matrix is all there. So I can go to 32 matrix on this.
Yeah, but typically with new callers, we don't have to teach them split phantom columns.
What?
With new
sure?
callers, we don't have to teach split phantom columns. So
Yes, we do.
well, maybe new C3B callers certainly, but
Yeah.
but not basic and mainstream callers or SSD callers, certainly not.
No.
I'm just impressed, Joe. You snuck in a DIY into this.
Actually, my checkers aren't that at all.
Well,
Secrets.
Well, the unfortunate thing is that Joe can't dry his clothes at home anymore.
No. My checkers look like that. And they lock together. So when I get lines of 4, I can move the whole line. Unfortunately, I number my dancers 1 through 8 because I didn't know when I first started that half the square was a mirror image. I thought I had to know where everybody was. So my box 1-4 is not whatever, 1-3-4-4. It's 1-6-7-8. But I see things in my head that way now. If you move the checkers enough, it goes into your head, and you just see those formations.
I know why Daryl likes using the checkers rather than terminations. He doesn't have to worry about the cursor.
About the what?
Cursor. Sorry, Daryl.
Well, the cursing comes from your mouth when you screwed something up. That's when the cursing happens.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean the ones that go have Daryl as a tutor, he'll be showing something on terminations and he'll type away and he hasn't got the cursor up there and we go, cursor, Daryl. So that's why he likes doing the manual checkers. Is that right, Daryl? I'm dobbing you in. I'm in trouble. I'm always in trouble.
Well, I know back in the day, I had when I first started, I had the dolly board, the magnetic and the dolls.
Oh, real dolls.
Oh yeah, real. They look like little wooden dolls, and boy, I worked them things to death.
I have that set.
Oh.
A friend of mine had Barbie and Ken dolls and used to use them around.
That's a big sell. Yeah.
Yeah, let's not go there. You get Barbie and Ken in the corner though.
Sorry, that was that, Joe?
What happens when you get Barbie and Ken in the corner though? If they quit dancing, they start making out,
Oh, goodness.
No, we all know that Barbie doesn't make out with Ken. Barbie only dates G.I. Joe.
I didn't know that.
Some more of that useless trivia.
But yes, just like anything to do with new colors or new things that you're learning, essentially it's just practice. The more you do it, the better you get at it, and the more you see, the more you watch the dancers, the more you realize where they are and how you can fix them, and it after a while it becomes second nature to you.
Okay, well, I think we're really close to an hour here, so I'm going to stop the recording for putting on the website. And I think basically, so we got good calls for trying to normalize would be swing through, star through, touch a quarter, fold,
U-turn
box
back.
net, and the easiest one, U-turn back.
Box the net. Box the net.
What was that?
Was it box the net? Was that in the list?
Yes.
Yep.
But just pass through and U-turn back.
Okay. Well,
That's bits and pieces. You need
Yeah,
to know enough about your movements to know actually what they are.
Yep.
And the way to learn that is to move the dancers with the dolls.
Move the dolls,
Yep.
checkers, whatever.
Yeah,
So-
the Taminations is convenient, but it's a little too much of a cheat. Moving checkers is the way to go.
Why not old fashioned type? Same thing, magnetic.